Hi, fashion dolls. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Thankful Thursday, March 3rd, and welcome to an all-new episode of Style by Stevie Daytime. Our very special guest today is a Cape Verdean American actor, producer, and writer, known for playing Alley Boy in the Amazon Prime film Convicted in 2017. Joining me today, ladies and gentlemen, we have Jorge Lopes. And no, not that Jorge Lopes, but this is a different Jorge Lopes. So let me share this live with him. I know you guys have been waiting and anticipating me. I just got off of Bigo. I was live over there. We talked a little bit about mental health, and we'll probably be talking about some of that during this interview as well too. I'm super excited about today's interview. I have been speaking with this gentleman throughout the week, so I'm super excited to have him here. Ladies and gentlemen, joining me today we have actor, writer Jorge Lopes. I'm super excited for this interview, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, joining me and welcoming our very, very, very special guest, Mr. Jorge Lopes. All right, let me add.
Hi.
Welcome, welcome. Welcome to the Dollhouse. Happy Thursday.
Thank you for having me. Happy
It is
Thursday.
such a pleasure to have you here. Welcome, welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with actor, producer, writer, Jorge Lopes. It's two Jorge Lopez's. So this one, his name starts with a J and not a G. And I'm pretty sure you get that a lot. So before we get into this interview, how has 2022 been for you thus far? Because I know we've been through so much and there's still so much going on, the ups and downs and the up and down. It's like a roller coaster. So how's 2022 been for you thus far?
It's been great. I mean, I know a lot of people look at the pandemic as I guess like as a bad thing. For me, I looked at it as a blessing because it gave us the opportunity to take time off and focus on what you want to focus on. And for me, it gave me clarity on the fact that once you focus on something and you put all that time to it, you create success at a faster rate.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And speaking of clarity, let's start off with your journey. How did the world get to know Jorge Lopes? Because I know you, and I'm pretty sure a lot of your one of your supporters says Jorge legend. That you are definitely a legend in your own right, and I'm honored to be sitting across from you right now. Well, not sitting across from you like that in person, of course, due to the guidelines and everything, but sitting across from you, looking at you right now. I know you, and the world got introduced to you as well as myself through your role in Convicted, which was released in 2017, which was an amazing project. So, for those of you who do not know who Jorge Lopes is, tell us a little bit about Jorge Lopes, where he grew up, how many brothers and sisters, and how did your journey in acting begin?
Okay, well, my journey, I guess, started when I was in the second grade, actually,
Mm.
because my mother used to tell me stories, and when I used to go to school, I used to go at the end of the day, and it's crazy that I remember this, but at the end of the day, the last class, you go back to like homeroom or whatever, and in that class, we get an opportunity to get up in front of the class and tell a story. So I'd get up and try to tell a story and try to move my fellow classmates. And I remember doing that, and it's a few years now that I remember that. Hey, I used to do that. Someone had asked me the questions, what actually got me into storytelling, not into acting, but storytelling. And I said, well, I guess I've always been doing it since I was in second grade. So that's kind of how my journey started, or the passion developed from there, from my mother telling me stories before I go to bed. And so fast forward, and I'm about 15 years old, and I grew up in the streets of Boston. So I was getting into a lot of trouble. That they put me into this after school program where I didn't want to go. But at first it's like, oh, you're going to get more classes. I'm like, okay, I'm already doing classes, whatever. And I was into that. But then they say, hey, well, we'll pay you a stipend if you go. I was like, oh, okay, you're talking money. Let's go. So I went to this after school program. And in this after school program, what happened is I ended up meeting a professor who was, a theater professor. And so he got us all together. It was a group of about 15 or 20 of us. we got together and created an ensemble, and we wrote our first script, which was called The Deadly Gift. And it was a script that dealt with teens having HIV or contracting the virus, and what they went through. So, and then doing that, we went on a tour around Massachusetts, doing different colleges and doing the play, just to educate people on the subject. And I mean, people knew about it, but it's like we wanted to make sure teams knew how to deal with it. And so after that, I ended up, he liked what I did on stage, so he took me to an audition for this this show that it wasn't a show, it was like a little short that they were doing for WGBH. And I went, did the audition, and the producers loved me. They cast me on the spot, and I played a drug dealer who was thinking about committing suicide. And after I did that, when it came out, people seeing it, they're like, oh, and they really thought it was like I was having those type of thoughts. I was like, no, I mean, it was just a role. And but with that, it got people to open up and talk to me about, dealing with that situation or dealing with those type of thoughts, which was again, it just sold me on, you want to do this, and this is what you want to do. And but growing up in Massachusetts, there were no avenues for you to go. Nobody knew how to go about getting into the industry. And I started trying to look at it and trying to study. And I'm like, and my thing is, I don't want to study from someone that's not doing it. If you're just teaching it, you're teaching theory, that's fine. But I'd rather I learn hands-on. I like jump in and let's figure it out. And I mean, when I started off as an actor, going on stage and into the studio I was working at, my goal was to go on stage and fail. And people would be looking at me like, I go on stage, these days I go on stage because, when you first start as a freshman, trying to start as an actor, you're like, oh, I gotta deliver these feelings and I gotta show this and that. And so I go there and I go on stage and I'm like, hey, nothing's happening. I don't feel anything. They always tell you, oh, get up there, get ready. And you should be ready by the time you walk on stage and just go. And I'm like, okay. I'm not feeling anything when I'm walking on the stage. And then when I walk on the stage, I'm not feeling anything. It's like I'm there for a couple minutes. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I walk off stage. Now, I don't recommend that anyone does do that. My coaches would lovingly get me back on that stage. Cuss me out, call me all kind of names, get back on that stage. And I get up on the stage and work it until you get it. And I say that because it's like, for me, like I said, it just fell forward. I mean, that's a quote. Denzel talks about it, failing forward. I didn't understand when I first heard him say that. I was like, what does he really mean by that? There's two quotes by Denzel that I that's like that. And when I was like, fail forward, I was like, that's an interesting concept. If I want to fail, I don't want to fail. I hate the feeling of failure. And we got to look at that failing or failure is a gift, because you get this gift that teaches you. Because when you fail, you tend to ponder. When you succeed, you party. So you don't really get the lesson. But when you fail, you definitely get that lesson. And so in knowing that, that's what kept me going when I was on stage and I kept on failing and not doing it. I'm like, what the hell? I mean, I don't know how to do this, But getting to that point where you go to that vulnerable space and you get there, once you get there, then you realize that all I really have to do is stop, the bullshit and stop all that clutter and just get vulnerable with who I am in this moment. And on what I'm going through. And in doing that, it always guides you as an actor. But just to make a long story short, is like my journey started in second grade. And when I hit 15, I got hit with the acting bug, really got hit with the acting bug. Then I spent a few years trying to, connect with the people in Massachusetts, working with people, and it was hard to get connected with people. So I decided to create my own thing, created my own team. I actually, my first film that I made, we guerrilla styled it and in Boston. And the thing is when when the film was done, I went to the film market and everything like that to go sell it and all that. But it got bootlegged. And at first I was upset that it got bootlegged. But then I was like, you know what? It's actually a good thing, because they bootleg it and they get it out there. You know, so let's let him. You know, my brother actually went and took a picture of one of the bootleggers. I wanted to do something different, but with that said, is once I got that learning, it was like, okay, I'm not feeling like they're stealing from me anymore. Well, what I'm feeling like is that they're actually helping me out by spreading the message. You know, so and I'm the first one to say to people, I'm like, oh, I'll bootleg my own film, but I wouldn't do that today. But I used to say that because I say that the bootleggers got the information out there and got it to people and people loved it. It became an underground success in Massachusetts, actually. I actually had someone walk up to me and told me that was their favorite film next to like Menace to Society and Buzz and Hood. I'm like, okay.
Wow.
That's not what the film was designed to be, because it was designed to show it was about a father trying to, which is similar. It's crazy because it's kind of similar story to Convicted. It's about a father who's wrongfully convicted, and in Convicted he's not wrongfully convicted, but in Life, Love, and Loss, which was the name of that project, he was wrongfully convicted by a cop. Just set him up because the cop couldn't catch he was chasing a black guy, couldn't catch that one, so he grabbed the next one that he came to, and they just planted the evidence on him and had his partner go through with that. So with that said, in that project, it's the same thing. It's about a father coming home, trying to reconnect with his daughter. Because it's about a father who comes home trying to reconnect with his daughter after 10 years, and then he comes back, and my character, is like, okay, why are you here? This is my territory now. I run this, whatever, however you want to look at it. I mean, you watch the movie. I don't want to give it away. I just want to say if people want to go check it out, they can go check it out, because it's on. You can check it on Vudu, and you can check it on Amazon. I'm not. I don't remember the rest, but it's on several platforms. I don't know which one did you watch.
Tubi. I'm pretty sure
Tubi.
Tubi.
Yeah.
Shout outs to K-Tooks85, my brother. Make sure you guys please go and subscribe to his YouTube channel and check out the K-Tooks Spot, an amazing talk show. Shout outs to the beautiful Miss Angela Renee. I see a few famous faces coming in. Shout outs to all of you if you're just joining in. We are here with actor, writer, producer, Mr. George Lopes. You talked in the beginning about one of the characters that you portrayed on wanting to take their life, and how people were inspired by that. We talk a lot about mental health on this platform. So for you, how important is it for you to have the mindset that you do when you're acting to contribute that to mental health as well, if that makes sense?
Well, I believe that the mind is a beautiful thing. And what I mean by that is that the mind is never broken. Your mind or your unconscious mind will give you whatever you need in the moment to deal with whatever you're going through in life. Or also it might hold something like, for example, for me, when I was working on Convicted, I was working on a character, I discovered so much about myself. One of the things that I discovered about myself was the fact that when I was younger, my mother used to always tell me, she told me I have a good memory, but it's because she left me when I was like 3 or 4. My parents left me, and I was with my grandmother. My grandmother was raising me, and every day I was fighting with the kids because they were saying, your parents left you, I locked that away. In my mind, the only thing I could remember, which I told my mother when I did move back in with her, maybe I was like 2 years later. I told her that I remember, her at the bottom of the stairs waving bye to me, and me being a little kid, not knowing, I think I was like, I don't know, 3 years old at the time, something like that, or 4, not understanding what's going on. And I'm waving by, my grandmother looking at my grandmother, she's smiling, so I'm like, okay, everything's good. And that's all I could remember until I was working on the road for Convicted, and I had to go to what's called a private moment. And in doing that private moment, you start going back. There's an exercise that you do. It's an acting exercise that actors do. And in doing that private moment for the character, you always bless the character with parts of you. And parts of me at that point, it was like an abandonment issue. And the minute that I got that, and I understand, it's like, where did I get this from? And usually, whatever something happens to us, I call it C, which is significant emotional event. If something happens at that point, then you create a trigger at that point that can actually triggers that back at a certain point. And when you talk about mental disorder, and I'm not a professional when it comes to it, but I believe that the mind you know, we can stretch the mind as far as we want, and we will be okay, because the mind knows how to protect itself, you know. And in doing that, it creates certain things that people might do, certain habits or something like that, or little things that they do that helps them to protect themselves, you know. So, but to answer your question, as an actor, going to that space for the character, figuring out where this person lives, it's very important. It's vital for you to actually step into a scene and live, you know, because if not, what happens is you're going to be acting or pretending, and no one's going to connect with you. But if you're truly in that world, then, you know, people will connect with you.
100%. 100%. And I asked that question because it's been so much going on with us throughout this whole entire thing, with having to balance all of these things coming us at once. This pandemic, some people have lost family relatives, and so many other things that have gone on throughout this whole entire thing. But family is an important virtue. So these characters that you play, and every actor that I've interviewed has said this, there's somewhat of a connection to the character they portray on film as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
we touched a little bit on that. I had to ask you to talk about it because you brought it up, and I said, "Oh, bingo!" A light bulb went off. Mental health, and I just got through having a conversation about that with some people. So yeah, make sure that you guys are talking a lot about it. We have to normalize it. So one thing people don't know about you is that you got a degree in journalism at Suffolk University. Tell
Yeah.
us about that.
Suffolk University. I ended up, what I wanted to do, actually, I wanted to go to school down south. And I did, I went to Mississippi first. And when I got to Mississippi, I went to JSU, which is a Division I college. So I went there, and everything was good. I started for a month. And then after a month, they told me, well, we don't have any proof that you live in the US. I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, we have no proof that you live in the US. I'm like, you should have everything, right? And then I'm like, hold up. So they're like, yeah, I gotta get the proof. I was like, oh, I gotta get you the proof. But they made me drop out of school because they couldn't prove that I lived in the US. I'm like, Boston is not another country, bro. You know, but that's what happened. So after being out of school for a month and staying at a hotel and, you know, every night waiting for an answer from them, I said, finally, I said, forget it. I flew back to Massachusetts. And when I flew back to Massachusetts, I still wanted to go down south because I wanted that southern experience. And so I went to Atlanta. And in Atlanta, I think the school was called Fort Myers. Or, I'm not sure. I don't remember the name of the school. But I went there and it didn't connect. I just couldn't connect with down south. And so then I came back to Massachusetts and I went to Suffolk University. And I took journalism because of the fact that what I wanted to do was go into law, you know, because I was doing mock trials and I loved doing the mock trials, but didn't realize I'm doing the mock trials. I don't like the law stuff. What I like is really the acting. And that's what, you know, once I figured that out, I was like, okay, you know what, that's really what I want to do. Yeah.
Okay, okay. All right. So speaking of acting, we're going to go through your career because you've done some amazing roles. One of them I just mentioned in the beginning, Convicted. And you also played Detective Raymond in Amazon Prime's Fourth Quarter. And you've also written and contributed and ghostwritten several films, including Erased, Life, Love, and Loss. You've
Mhm.
done so many throughout your entire career. So thank you, Angela. Thank you so much for popping in, my love. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Angela Renee, thank you for coming into the dollhouse. Um, Tell us, what was that experience like for you? And what's running through your mind when you're on set? Um, Most actors are just like, wow, this is unreal to me. Like, I can't believe I'm here. What's running through your mind when you're on set, when you're rehearsing your lines, when you're getting into character and getting ready to shoot?
Well, first off, I would say this to you is, I mean, every actor have their own way of doing things, but for me,
Yeah.
it's I don't get into character when I'm on set. When I walk on set, I'm already in character, and I do that because if I can get my mind, especially what I love about New York is you walk a lot, and then you take this train, and the train can go on for 2 hours or whatever. So you're riding on, usually anywhere you're going is an hour. So you've given yourself a whole hour to just mentally just drop into that role. So when you walk in, you drop into this character, you already embody the character and you're ready to go. So when they say, oh no, can we change X, Y, Z on the script? Okay, cool. What do you want? Okay, cool. Like that, you'll be able to adjust to it and do it because you're already living it versus going on set and trying to prepare. In my experience in the past has been going on set and feeling like I'm the new person. And I was thinking about that today because I know I was going to have this conversation with you, and I was like, it popped in my head. I was like, yeah, which if I could leave anyone that's on this watching this a gift that's actually going after acting is what could I say to them? And it's this basically that when you go to set, be okay with being the new person on set. I've always been the new person in class, the new person on set. Everybody got their own little clique and everything. And it's like you walk in and you got this feeling like, okay, boom. But once you get into what you're doing and just get into that, everything else just disappears. It's those nervous jitters that you get in the very beginning.
Yes, because most actors, I ask them, do you ever get nervous? And some say, yes, I get nervous. But then they just go with the flow of things. So it's all about, matching energy, making sure, you and your co-star, because I did some acting. I only did one horror film, y'all. The assistant to Alex Jonte, shout outs to him for that experience. And I went in with no acting experience. And when we did the table read, I nailed it. I went in there and I nailed it because the character that I was playing was a college professor. I've never taught school a day in my life. I've been known for doing public speaking. So this was sort of opening me up to get more in the big leagues of, wanting to do more acting roles and things like that. So kind of just, give me just a little bit of taste of what to expect in the world of acting. So I thank Alex for that experience 100%. So my next question for you is another thing I didn't know about you is that you did theater as well too. You did Macbeth. So, wow, amazing. What was that?
No, was it Macbeth? Yeah, no, I think it was Hamlet. I don't remember now. I wasn't the lead on I wasn't the lead.
Yeah, Macbeth. You did Macbeth.
Okay, it was Macbeth.
Um, what was that
Oh, yes,
experience?
yes, yes. That was fun. It was like because we owned the whole stage, we owned the whole theater because the way that theater was designed is like there were ways that we can get to the back of the theater without not well around the audience and get and be able to
Mm-hmm.
come up, and it was beautiful because then the whole theater becomes a stage, and I really loved that. And my character kills Banquo, and it was great. You know what I'm saying we take because Banquo, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. It's been a while, so but he was really good with the sword and everything like that. And then so my character, well, we get him. There's three of us that get him. We ambush him and we're able to take him down, and that was fun. It was fun doing that.
And it's a completely different experience than how we're doing it now, like a live television show or a live movie. It's a completely different experience than standing up and you having to remember your thing in real time. Like I've seen so many shows on Broadway, from Wicked to The Color Purple, all of them. When you're on stage and there's thousands of people out there watching it, or however number how many people out there watching it, it's if you mess up, they're going to catch on to it. So the best key trick is to not let them know that you messed up anything. Broadway or theater is completely different than shooting a film. It's completely different.
Yeah, it's crazy. I used to say I love film more, and I mean maybe I love film more because you leave a legacy. Uh, and I love the theater, and the reason I love the theater is because of what you just said. You can't mess up. So whatever you do, you got to get to where you're going. And what I also love about this theater is because you're already rehearsing on that stage for so long. You do what's called spatial repetition, where
Yes.
if I go into this space right here, I know what words I'm saying to you. That's when the words come to me. I don't have to try to memorize it because just by anchoring this spot with these words, when I look at you, I know what I'm saying, and I don't forget. And that's what I love about that, because when you're doing that, you're working on your memory, you're working your emotional life, and you're working everything. It's beautiful. You get your instrument going with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, fashion dolls, we're going to get into our games with Mr. George here. The first one is called the Rapid Five. And George has to tell me five things that he can't live without. The next one is going to be called Turn the Tables. And I do this with all of my guests. And for my new viewers that are just coming in, this is a way for you guys to get to know me, the hostess. If my other co hosts are here, they'll be participating as well, too. So shout outs to Johnny, shout outs to Marco. My guests get to ask me as many questions as they want to, uncensored and unfiltered. So it's a little twist. So I don't know what George is going to ask me. I'm a little nervous. My heart is beating fast. So we're going to start off with the rapid five. What are five things that you can't live without?
Water, uh, basically, I guess connection, definitely
Mm.
connection with others. I love connecting with people. Um, right now, my car, because I need to be able to get, I want to be able to get everywhere. Um, Working out. I love working out. I love getting out, going in the morning to go work out. And I say my health.
And I'm glad you said that because that's another thing for us as people of color, as Black people. And I kind of touched on this a little bit the day before. We talked about not just mental health, but making sure that you stay healthy as well too, because there's so much we go through in the Black community as a whole. We don't talk about our health issues, whether it's diabetes, whatever. We have to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves, not just mentally, but physically as well too. So get up and get active. Don't be a lump on the log, and that's how they say it back in the day. I think that's what they used to call it. But get up and do something. So yeah. All right, fashion dolls, it is now time to turn those tables. And I'm super nervous right now. I don't know what George is going to ask me. So I'm going to allow my guests to do the honors, and you guys will be able to get to know me a little bit through the question as well, too. So take it away, George.
Okay, so rapid five. What are five things that you love most in your life right now?
Five things that I love most in my life. I will start off by saying God, first and foremost in everything, gets me up in the morning, lets me sleep peacefully at night. Second thing would have to be family. Family, I'm a firm believer of family and having a strong support system. That's near and dear to me. Third thing that I love, pepperoni pizza. Everyone knows that. Number four, what else do I love? I'm a glamour girl. I love makeup. I'm always playing in makeup, eyelashes, things like that. So I have to have that. Number five, a good book. I love to read. I love to read. You know, a lot of things we can lose. A lot of things we can. The exterior, the glitz, the glamour, but we cannot. We can never have too much of this knowledge. So number five will be a good book.
Nice. So I just want to say, you then, because you talk about mental health and you love reading, you should read Alice Miller's book, The Drama of the Gifted Child, and that is about, I don't know, 120 pages. It's a quick read, small book, but it's really, really good.
I definitely will check that out because, like I said, I'm always in my room. I have a room full of books, and I'm just like, how are you able to move around? My mom comes in my room and she asks me, how are you able to move around here? Because I have so many books, magazines, I'm always reading, and even online on my tablet or my phone, whatever it is. So thank God for the power of technology for us being able to, but there's nothing for me. Is nothing like the feeling of the sound of a page turning for me. I love this. I don't know if that's weird to anybody, but I love the sound of a page turning and just being able to put the little bookmark and things like that. I don't know. I'm old fashioned, but I go on my phone and things and my tablet if I need to. But
Nice. I do PDFs.
yeah, yeah, those two.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on the book because if it's an inspirational book or anything like that, what I do is I love having the book because when I'm going through it, I can highlight it and go to the front of the book and I'll
Yes.
write the page number, write what the lesson is, and mark that highlight or whatever it is, so that way I don't have to read. I mean, I can read the book again, but I can just open it up and I have all of the lessons right there and then for me.
Yep. And I put my little bookmarker, sticky note, whatever it is to help me memorize what I need to so I can go back if I need to. If I'm doing a workbook or something, then I'll go back and use that as my reference if I need to. So yeah.
Nice.
All right. As many questions as you want. You get to ask as many as you want.
Oh, me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I thought you were talking about the people that's okay. All right, cool. So where do you plan to take this?
I would, and I spoke kind of briefly on this yesterday on the show. Someone asked, shout outs to Maurice Paramore. Um, he asked me, he said, Miss Stevie, where do you see this platform? I see myself on my own network. I wouldn't, shout outs to all of the big cable networks out here, ABC, CBS, all of them who have talk shows. But I would love to build my own from the ground up. And I would give everybody the opportunity, as a collective, Black film directors, Black producers, Black screenwriters, playwriters, makeup artists, hairstylists, whoever, everybody would be up under the Style by Stevie brand or emblem on under that network. And everybody would have their show, they would showcase their films, their projects. And of course, this one will be on there. So I would like to build my own from the ground up. You know, it's easy to say, oh, I want to be on CBS, I want to be on ABC, MSNBC, all of those talk show hosts. But I would like to build my own, you know.
Okay. Now, do you have a strategy for that yet?
Yes, absolutely. And I've been brainstorming, and I also do vision boards too. For those of you who don't know, I do vision boards. So I'm always putting things into perspective of how I want things to run. That's the best thing to do is plan ahead. If this is something that you're serious about doing, because my mom, she even asked me when I started this platform, right after I graduated high school, beauty school, it's my junior year of high school. And she asked me, as well as, our guidance counselors and my father, what are you going to do? What is going to be your plan? What is going to be your plan? And every one of our parents asked us that question, like, what are you going to do? Are you going to college? Are you going to go to work? What are you going to do? My brother said, when I turn 18, I'm going straight to the military. And he went straight to the military. He proved my brother wrong. My father wrong. But yeah, I decided to go to beauty school, and I decided to get into mass communications, journalism, to learn a little bit more about that, interviewing and public speaking. And it kind of broke me out of my shell a little bit too, because I took public speaking in high school. We had to stand up and speak in front of the class, and it was nerve wracking. But it's kind of pulled me out of my shell a little bit now to be the more outspoken that you guys see today, because it wasn't easy. It takes a while to build up confidence. It's not an overnight thing. It's a process. So yeah.
It's little wins,
Mm-hmm.
and then you get that. No, okay. So since you mentioned beauty school, perms. Did you like rolling perms?
I
And
cannot. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
okay, did you roll perms? Did you like it? How many did you roll while you was in school?
Um, I never really did the perms. I couldn't stand that smell. Like the perm would come out beautiful, but I know that when we did our open labs, a lot of the girls in there would be doing perms, but it would be on some of the clients, the regular everyday clients, the elderly ladies. They would come in and they would get their perms, and I'm just like, from automotive technology, which is literally across the hallway, you could smell it all the way out there. So for me, I was a big color fan, and I incorporate color into my fashion or makeup or whatever it is. So me, when we did open labs, I had the most fun doing hair coloring and learning how to highlight. And I did the foils, and I got to work on my mom too. Me and one of my friends who was also in beauty school with me, my mom was our little test dummy, and we practiced color and styling on her. And it was so much fun. I have fun. I'm not going to lie. And do I miss it? I absolutely do. I do. But I still, to this day, I'm always practicing on myself. But I consult with the professionals. There are some looks that I've done on this platform, and I'm just like, girl, why would you do that to yourself? I remember it was season 2, season 3, I did the bleached eyebrows. And that was a beauty. That was very, very dangerous. So would I do it again? Absolutely not. I've done a lot of things with beauty. So, I always consult with the professionals when it comes to doing certain things with my hair or my skin or makeup. I always consult with them, another professional, before I do anything to myself or allow anyone to do to me. I let them know and I take pictures. That's another thing about me. I don't just like books, looking through the books, but I love pictures as well too. So it's all about imagery.
I got you. I got you. All right. So, I mean, so you're still a stylist or a
Yes.
cosmetologist?
Yes, I got my license and I renew actually sometime in 2023. Or I probably might do it a little bit earlier because you know how the thing is with this whole it's just different because the last time I went to go do my license, we did it in person. And now we're having to do things virtually. So yeah, it sucks, but I'm looking forward to it because I get to network with other stylists, and it's pretty fun, you know.
Nice, nice. And you get to be creative. It's another way of being creative, basically. I mean, especially with color. I mean,
Yes,
you can get doodle brown mixing all those colors. You know what I mean? So it's like you could definitely miss, and I go into that because at one point in my life, you know, what I'm saying I was into hair and all this. I would go in the barber shop and just watch them cut just so I can figure out how to do it, and I did. So it's like that's why it's like I got into trichology for a while. You know what I mean? So, but anyways, I mean, with that said though, is now that you say you're incorporating, is it just the color aspect that you're incorporating into your fashion, or you incorporate anything else?
yes, I incorporate every element, but in moods as well too. I've learned that my beauty school teacher, shout outs to Miss Stevie, so she taught us when it's about color, it's about attitude. It's not just about, putting on the garment or coloring your hair. Okay, I'm gonna go blonde this day. It's how you wear it. It's about confidence. So for me, it's about the mood. It's about the element of how you define your style. So there's so many different aspects to it, when it comes to art. There's so many forms of art. There's so many different forms of and categories or lightning levels. You have 7 stages of lightning when it comes to hair color. That's what I've learned in beauty school. And I'm just like, wow, I can tone it down to this color. It's like a science experiment, basically, because you're mixing, you're doing measurements, you're doing all of these different things. But for me, how I incorporate it into my family, into my fashion, into my fashion is I do it with my mood. Like right now, we're about to hit spring. We're in March, so springtime. So bright colors definitely enhance your mood, and I go what boosts my personality, and bright colors have been proven to do that. So that's a little bit why I love hair coloring the most because it just makes you feel good. And when you get out of that chair, when you go into the salon or the barber shop, you feel uplifted like a whole new person. You can be down when you go in there, and then stylists have the gift to just make you feel good. You sit in that chair and they transform you. And it's just like, wow, I didn't know I could look like this. Because we want to know 9 times out of the 10, we want the style that is on the picture. No, we actually want to look like the person that's on the picture. So that's what I've learned. Yeah.
Nice, nice. That's great. Now, okay, so with that said, it's like, because for me, what you just said about colors, for me, it's like whenever I wear blue or wear red, those are my favorite colors. And when I wear those, it makes me feel different. So I mean, I wear a lot of reds, and I didn't realize that I have a lot of reds that I wear. And until one day I was looking, I was like, I have a lot of red. And the neighborhood I lived in was basically, because I was in Bed-Stuy, it was all red. So it's like, and what I mean by that is like most people were wearing red in that area. So it's like, I don't know if that was a subconscious thing that happened, but because we talk about the mental, I'm like, maybe as I started seeing red, but I know when I wear the red, I feel good, or when I wear blue, I feel good. So, and as an actor, I use that for how my character's feeling. So it kind of helps me
Yes.
determine the colors I'm going to wear, you know, and also the colors I'm going to wear for an audition. Well, today we're doing self-tape, so it doesn't really matter, you know. But I mean, it does matter because you got to be in the character, but it doesn't matter like, okay, I'm gonna wear this color to make me because I can do it 20 times. I don't really recommend that, but and then
And and
some.
and And style to me is a way of acting because you can transform into so many different people, so many different personalities. That's basically what style is. You're transforming. You don't want to look like yourself. You want to look completely different, like a whole new person. It's all about making yourself feel good because when you get out of that chair or when you're reading that role or whatever it is, and you're just like, okay, oh yeah, you're already imagining what you want your character to look like. And sometimes the director has an input into that too. I know for the horror film that I shot, The Assistant, um, my director, shout out to Alex. Alex wanted me to have short hair, and as you guys can see today, I am rocking some tresses. So when he said that, I was just like, "Ooh, okay, okay, whatever you want, whatever you want. If you want this character, because she was a college professor, to have short hair, I'll give you short hair." And I went and I just did it. Sometimes you don't even have to think on things. You do things on impulse. Just do it. Just do it. And I went for it. I went for the gusto and I did it. And everybody loved it. They were like, wow, you look completely different. And that's what he wanted. He didn't want me to look like, because if I had long hair, this is what he told me. He said, if you have long hair, you look like you're one of the students. I want you to look more distinguished. I want you to look more like you're assertive. And short hair kind of does that to women. It uplifts us. It gives us confidence. Whereas long hair makes us feel sultry. And for me, I feel like, Sierra or Beyonce today with the tresses. But today, tomorrow, I might be feeling like I want to feel like Tony, or it's just different personalities, this aspect. It's basically playing dress up, when you go into the salon and you try different colors, different things, and make suggestions, or whatever it is for your character, acting wise. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but when it comes to characters, I learned something that a while back. I think it's Anthony Hopkins. They said it comes from, but is trying the clothes on and making sure, like, putting those clothes on, finding the right clothes for the character that you're going to use. Because whether you use those clothes on set or not, when you're rehearsing, doing all that stuff, using those clothes actually helps to get you where you need to go. And that's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. 100%. And I've even seen that with my mom. Like, I've gotten her I try to get her to try on different things. Like, I dress a little, I like to show a little skin every now and again, a little shoulder, a little leg or whatever. I've kind of gotten my mom to kind of blossom out a little bit and try different fashions and stuff as well too. And it's about boosting her confidence. She's a curvy woman and she's about, I can't wear this. You never know until you try it. That's my suggestion. Try it. You never know whether it's food. I'm all up into trying new experiences when it comes to experiencing different cultures, different aspects. Because when you try it, you might like it. You never know. You know.
I feel you. I feel you on that.
So,
I mean, that's why I do that. That's why when it comes to food, I'll try. I've been to 20 countries, so every country that I went to, one of the things that I made a point of was to try orange juice. And the country that I felt had the best orange juice was Morocco. And and every country I went and tried to find whatever dish was there that I didn't know and try it out to see if I would like it or not. Which was it was an interesting experience because in some countries are like, I mean, like I was in Spain and they were talking about, they eat snails. I'm like, nah, I'm good with that. I'm not eating any snails. But everything else I did try, but I mean, I'm not eating any snails. I'm not trying that. But
yes, no orange wigs.
yeah. So it was like, I've tried a lot of different foods as far as culture goes. I like that. And I'll try to at least learn one or two words in each culture, right? When I hear languages, stuff like that.
And that's the thing. There's nothing wrong with trying different cultures, different foods out here. I mean, there's so many. They're not all going to be the same, and that's why it's so versatile and so multifaceted. Because God didn't want us all to be the same way in different countries. The same in all of these countries. He wanted us to be different. So Try it. You never know. When it comes to acting, some people are turned down roles, but try it. You never know. And you're just like, wow, I can get into this. And who was it? It was Taraji P. Henson. She said something. I think when she was going in for the role for Cookie on Empire, she said, I won't do it if it doesn't scare me. I love a challenge. I want it to scare me. I'm not going to do it if it doesn't give me a challenge. You get what I'm saying? So, to
Yeah,
all of you out there, yeah, try
I,
it. You never know.
I get that. And I would say for me, when it comes to acting, is like definitely I love the fact that you take risks, but I say take a risk as an actor, take a risk. Like for example, Convicted, I didn't want to play the role, and and the only reason I ended up playing the role is because I got challenged to play the role. Because I didn't want to go to the audition. I didn't want to do the audition, but I felt I had to go because I wanted to build I want to build a network. I want to connect with people. So I went to the audition not wanting the role because of, as you know, he's a sociopath. He's having everybody killed and stuff, and he's doing all this stuff, which is like, okay, that's not normal. So, and I didn't want to portray, black men of color in that role, even though it's romanticized, I guess, if you want to call it that. Um, so I didn't feel like that. I had this thing where I didn't want to put that into the world, and I was challenged to bring dignity to the character. So it wasn't about, oh, challenge, can you do this role? No, it was can you bring dignity to this character and show people in the amount of space that you have, give the audience this guy's life. So it's like that I can do,
Absolutely.
you know? And so I went and did that. And I got confirmation that I actually got that point across when they had the premiere. At the premiere, um, you know, I go into the theater, nobody knew who I was or whatever, which was great. So I can go in there with my friends, we sitting, second to third to the front row, so we can get. I mean, I already know what the movie is, so I'm not going to go on the journey that everybody else is going to go on. So it's like, so it's my time to sit there and kind of look at the audience, which I suggest no actor does, because so many things are going to be going through your head. But looking at the audience to see how they're taking it in, and so which was great. I'm saying the artist, received it really well. I was putting my head down in certain parts because I'm like, oh man, I could have done better. I'm criticizing myself, and a lot of actors do that. I think every human being do that and
Yeah.
criticize himself. And so after they call me on stage and take a bow, say a little something, something. Get off stage now. People are trying to take pictures and everything with me. I'm like, all right, cool, trying to take pictures. But as we talk about mental health, I was claustrophobic as a child. So when I get a lot of people around me, I start panicking, even though you don't see it. I'm panicking.
Ooh,
I'm basically inside. I'm ready to hit somebody and push somebody away from me because they're getting too close. And then I like connecting with people, which is, I guess a conflict there. But so that happened. So at this moment, I get an excuse so I can get out. I'm trying to bolt out the theater because of the fact that so many people coming around me, and I didn't like that. So I get when I get to the door, I'm getting ready to leave. This woman stops me, and so I'm just like, "Oh my god!" And I'm like, "Okay, what's up?" She goes, "You did such an amazing job," and she's like, "In that point when you got the betrayal, she said I got that, and I totally understood this guy where he's coming from." And I'm like,
wow.
okay. And I was like, wow. So I got that point across. I got the humanity in there because he's a sociopath. So how do you find the humanity in that? And that was a beautiful challenge for me because it got me to do the role. Because other than that, I didn't really want to do the role. You know? And I learned a lesson in it because, a friend of mine who's also an actor, Michael Chenevier, shout out to Mike, he told me, he's like, look, I understand you don't want to play that role. He does Adam Clayton Powell. He's done those are the type of characters he goes for. Again, uplifting the the black man. And
Right.
he goes to me. He said, "Hey, you like the show Power, right?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "But as an actor, wouldn't you want to be on Power?" I was like, "Oh yeah, hell yeah." You know, and he goes, "Do you think any of those guys are drug dealers and killers and anything?" I'm like, "Oh, no, I know that they're actors, whatever." He's like, "Yeah, exactly. So you're just playing a role. You know what I'm saying? Do the role." I'm like, "Okay, I get that." Because at one point I was just no, and now it's like, okay, if I get the role, and if it's a role like that, it has to have a message. If it has a positive message, then I'll take it. If it doesn't, I know. If it's just shoot them up, bang bang, nah, I'm good. Yeah,
Has to
yeah,
have meaning, and
yeah.
not only that, connect with the audience. So I relate to that 100%. 100%. All right, fashion dolls, do we have any questions for George? This is such an amazing conversation. We just got through turning the tables. We were talking about transitioning, change, and just getting comfortable with the new norm, doing things that are out of your element. We talked a little bit about that. Um, Before we conclude this interview, if we take any questions, my question for you is, what advice would you give to someone who's looking to get into producing, directing, or acting?
I would say do it. And the thing is, right now I have a lot of people sending me scripts. I got 15 scripts right now that I got to read,
Wow.
and which is fine. It's great. Because for me, I get to go through on these journey and see these stories that I'm like, okay, I get to use my imagination while I'm doing that, but also I'm looking at stories that are well written, and then it helps me as I'm writing myself. Because there's a story format that you follow, so I'm doing that. And I'm looking at the story and I'm checking that while I'm going through those scripts. I love that. Also, what I would now to answer your question really is what advice I would give to someone truly. I mean, yes, do it. In short, do it. And I would say that be willing to put in hard work, or be prepared to put in hard work. And what I mean by that is it's not just, oh yeah, make do it and just, oh, it's gonna happen. No, there's a lot of work. Like I just said, I got 15 scripts that I'm reading, you know, and it's I'm getting up at 3 in the morning and reading until like 6 a.m., just so I can stay on point with the scripts that I'm reading. I'm behind on it. But so I say that because also, if you want to produce and you're just getting in, you want to find a role model. Find someone that's already doing, like I said earlier, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to learn from someone that's teaching it. I want to learn from somebody that's doing it. It's a big difference,
Yes.
you know? So, because not only will you learn the lessons, you will also get it in your body because you have gone through the experience. And so now you get it you get it when it goes to learning, you get it in a deeper level for yourself, versus doing it like, oh, surfacey, I kind of know what it is, but it's not. So find someone that's doing it. If you're just starting off, find someone that's doing it, that's creating the results that you want. Go volunteer with them. Give them time. I mean, my acting, I did a lot of volunteering. And the reason why I did that is because I knew I was going to be learning from good people. And because of that, yeah, I'll volunteer. You know, some people are like, no, I don't want to do that. You know, and I get it. I understand. Now, for me, it tells me your psychology or your mindset is not where it needs to be in order for you to be a success. Because to succeed, you're gonna do any and everything. You're gonna try and everything to make sure you go. You can keep on changing your approach. If I'm going straight and it's not working, there's a roadblock. I'm going left. I'm going right. To make sure that I get to success. I always say you want to have 6 roads to success. And I'm not talking about levels of with the multiple streams of income. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if I want to be an actor, I have to have 6 ways to become an actor. You know, I can do my own thing. And then I always say, if you say I want to be an actor, you're already an actor the minute you get on stage and start doing it. Now it's not. You have to really speak into the universe what you want, which is like If I say I want to be an actor, that's not specific enough. I want to be an actor on, you know, Power. I want to be an actor on Sons of Anarchy. Whatever, you know what I'm saying, shows you love. You want to be, you want to, you want to complete it, because if you don't do that, you just say I want to be an actor, then it falls short. I say be specific in what you say, what you want, and speak about it and talk about it all the time. Because that's how it's going to come into fruition. When they said about speaking into fruition. So that's what my advice to up and coming people is like: first, do it. Second, find someone that you can use as a role model. And it doesn't mean say, hey, you know what, I want to go to the top and find and get this person. Maybe you don't have connection to that person, but go start low and work your way up. Because as you meet people along the way, you're gonna grow. Because if you come in with a mindset that, hey, I'm here to contribute, not here to take. Because if I come here to contribute and give you all that I can, in return, you're going to reciprocate. And if you don't reciprocate, that's okay too. Because I learned a lesson while I'm going through this. Every experience is a lesson. Whether it's good or bad, it's a lesson. Or whatever meaning we give it. Because you know what I'm saying, every experience, even though it's a lesson, we also give it different meanings.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And not only that, but we have to start somewhere. We have to start somewhere. Even for me, when I came up on this platform and still rising to come up on this platform, we all had to start somewhere. And humble beginnings, that's for everyone. We spoke a little bit about this Tuesday. Humbling yourself, making sure that you humble yourself. And as you get in this industry, because I've seen so many people become jaded, alienated by this industry. They see the glitz, the glamour, everything. But you still have to remain humble. Never lose sight of who you are, a piece of who you are. So, yeah.
Always there's certain, basic, but like you just said, doing that, being humble, you learn. I always say that, I'm saying to people, I'm like, I like to be the stupidest person in the room, or the dumbest person in the room. And the reason why I like that is because I know I'm going to grow up, I'm going to learn from everything. Whenever I went on, a class, an acting class, or, an ensemble, I got up to the ensemble, I always came in like, okay, I'm new to this. Even now, I'll go on, I'm new to this. And the reason why I do that is like, I always want to play with it. When I was in high school, I would go play basketball with the college students and the college basketball players. I wanted to be good, so I go play with them because I know they're gonna beat the hell out of me when I'm on the court with them. But I'm gonna learn stuff. So when I come back and play with my peers, I'm ahead of the game, and so I can do things that they can't do yet. And it's the same thing with acting. When I go act with someone, I always want to act with someone that's better than me, because one of my gifts is being able to adjust in the moment, especially if I'm acting. I'll adjust in the moment. I'll get what you're doing, break it down, come back at you, and then hit you and surprise the hell out of you. And I like doing that. I like learning that way.
All right. All right, Fashion Dolls, you guys heard it here first. Ladies and gentlemen, George Lopes, thank you so much for an amazing conversation. Your energy is amazing. You are so down to earth and laid back, and I would love to have you on again in the future. Let everyone know if you have any projects coming up and where they can follow you.
Okay, so you can follow me at I am George Lopes, JorgLopes, on Instagram. That's the best way to really reach me. And if our next project that we are working on is called The Race, and what we wanted to do, real quick plug, is that we wanted to create a story that empowered females. And because I have so many sisters, I grew up, I got so many nieces, so it's like we came up with this story called The Race, which is basically about showing females as badass females. Like, think of the Powerpuff Girls. I don't know if you ever remember the Powerpuff Girls, but the Powerpuff Girls, you know the Powerpuff Girls? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so the Powerpuff Girls, they were all badass, bubble living, they beating everybody up, and they got beef with Jojo Mojo, whatever his name is, the monkey. So it's like we wanted to have these girls like doing stuff like that, being badass females, and it's like, why not? You know what I'm saying? Why not empower them? And saying they are sisters, they are mothers, so empower them. You know what I'm saying? Show them love. And so we created Erase, and then with Erase, it's basically about these females that get entrapped basically by the U.S. government, and they go into this section of the U.S. government that is not on the books. And what they're doing, their goal is to eliminate terrorism on U.S. soils or terrorism on any U.S. Territories or whatever. And so these women, because of the skills that they have, like one, she can beat the crap out of anybody, and then another one, she's like a mentalist. She can get into your minds and make you do things that you didn't even know you wanted to do. And another one is a computer hacker, and she can hack her ass off. So it's like all of them got brought into this section. Their identity is taken away from them, and they're saying, okay, you know what? It's either you work for us or you spend life in Guantanamo Bay. And so it's like, okay, well, we go work for the U.S. government, and they do that, and they go in, and their journey takes them all the way to Raqqa, and then from there back to the U.S. And it's just going to be a fun project to do because we got the casino, we got helicopters, we got everything in this thing. Because we looked at it, if there was nothing holding you back and you had to tell this story, what would you do? And Erase is what it is. So,
And I'm here for it, and it's perfect timing because it's Women's History Month, is celebrating us. So this will be perfect for that. This will be perfect.
And if you go to erasedmovie.com, that's where you can read all about it. Yeah. And I think it's on my Instagram also. I'm not sure if it's on my Instagram, but it should be on my Instagram.
All right, Fashion Dolls, definitely go and check it out. Please go and check it out. The Race, Jorge Lopes, follow him, check out his projects. Please go and check out the comic. Please go and check it out. It is out right now. Check it out on all platforms, Amazon, Tubi TV, all of that, and so much more. Joining me tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, we have Kenneth Michael Holly. Definitely tune in tomorrow at 4 p.m. Get your walking shoes ready because we are going to walk the runway with Kenneth Michael Holly. He is a model and actor. I'm super excited for this interview. And George, it was such a pleasure having you here. Like your energy and just hearing your story is so real and transparent. And I hope some of you took something from this interview. This is one of my second most powerful interviews because of how transparent and open you are and real. And I hope people took something from that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome, and you're welcome to come back to the Dollhouse anytime. I can't wait to speak with you again on this upcoming project again in the future and so many others.
Thank you. All right.
You're so welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, Jorge Lopes, thank you all for watching Style by Stevie Daytime. I'm your hostess, Miss Stevie. Take care, everyone.